Hey there, folks! Tonight we're diving into the murky depths of corporate greed and malfeasance with the Wells Fargo account scandal. Buckle up because it's a wild ride. In 2016, Wells Fargo, a household name in banking, was caught with its hand in the cookie jar. And trust me, this wasn't just a few cookies. The bank was accused of a massive fraud, creating millions of unauthorized accounts in customers' names. Yeah, you heard that right, millions. This wasn't some rogue employee messing around, this was systemic, encouraged from the top down. It was a scheme driven by an insatiable appetite for profits, with ordinary customers caught in the crossfire. So grab yourself a stiff drink because this story gets worse before it gets better. Here's the lowdown. Wells Fargo employees, under immense pressure to meet unrealistic sales goals, went rogue. They opened millions of fake accounts, checking, savings, credit cards, you name it, all without customers' knowledge or consent. Imagine this. You think you're a good customer with 1 or 2 accounts, then bam, you find out you've got 5, 10, maybe even 20 accounts you never opened, all racking up fees and hurting your credit score. This wasn't a case of a few bad apples. We're talking about a staggering number of accounts, over 3.5 million according to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB. That's right, 3.5 million. The bank's solution? Blame it on a few bad employees, fire them and hope the problem magically disappears. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Now let's talk about the driving force behind this mess: cross-selling. See, Wells Fargo was obsessed with this idea of cross-selling, getting existing customers to open more accounts. Think of it like this. You go to a restaurant for a burger and the waiter pressures you to order 3 more entrees, a side of fries you didn't want, and a Diet Coke even though you specifically said you wanted water. Annoying, right? That's essentially what Wells Fargo did, but on a much larger, more destructive scale. They set these insane sales targets, pushing employees to their breaking point. Employees were rewarded for opening new accounts and punished for not meeting quotas. It created a toxic environment where ethics were tossed out the window like a used napkin. Section 4, the victim's fees, charges, and damaged credit. The fallout of this massive fraud was devastating for countless customers. Imagine getting hit with overdraft fees for an account you never opened or seeing your credit score plummet because of a credit card you never requested. People who trusted Wells Fargo with their hard-earned money were betrayed, slapped with unfair fees, and left with damaged credit histories. It was a nightmare scenario, and for many, it took years to unravel the mess. And the worst part, Wells Fargo knew about this for years. They ignored the warning signs, swept complaints under the rug, and prioritized profits over people. Section 5, ignored warnings. The whistleblower's plea falls on deaf ears. You might be thinking, surely someone tried to stop this, and you'd be right. Whistleblowers within the company raised concerns, but their voices were silenced. They tried to expose the unethical practices, the pressure, the outright fraud. But did anyone listen? Nope. Their warnings were ignored, brushed aside like an annoying fly at a picnic. Wells Fargo turned a blind eye to the truth, choosing to protect their bottom line instead of their customers. It's a classic case of corporate greed where money talks and ethics take a back seat. The sad reality is that whistleblowers are often treated like the bad guys, punished for speaking truth to power. But in this case, their bravery eventually helped bring the whole scheme crashing down. Section 6, accountability and aftermath, fines, firings, and a legacy tarnished. The Wells Fargo scandal sent shockwaves through the financial world. Regulators finally took notice, slapping the bank with hefty fines. We're talking billions of dollars, folks. The CEO resigned, though not before cashing in his stock options, of course, and over 5,000 employees were fired. But the damage was done. Trust in Wells Fargo was shattered, and the bank's reputation lay in tatters. Wells Fargo agreed to pay billions in customer compensation, but for many, the money couldn't erase the stress, the anger, and the feeling of being betrayed by their own bank. And the story doesn't end there. Investigations and lawsuits continued long after the initial scandal broke, because as we've learned, when it comes to corporate greed, the saga never truly